Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mighty Benaiah back with another installment in the Nubian campaign. And last I left off you yesterday, so this is the very next day, we were prepping for an invasion. I didn't tell you where I was going to land, but I told you that I was going to use the carrier and the commandos, the drop ships, to make a beachhead. Well, this is the result, and it's been about 24 hours. This is the result of that beachhead. My ally actually did it before I could, and he actually had an upgraded enough dropship that he was able to fly all the way from here to to Natal. So he was able to establish a bit of a beachhead, but I captured the locations around him, and we have pushed and pushed into the homeland of Colombia. This is the biggest blob of resistance we've seen at this time. And I'm about to lose these, so I'm just going to move them back here. We did see some fighters. In fact, there were some fighters that were killed on the ground here, and there are some additional fighters up here. So I want to be careful with those. But my spiders that I did finally research, okay, multiple units there. I'll need to be careful. Have been advancing and making a lot of ground against Brazil, and then we're actually getting into Colombian territory. He sent most of his troops elsewhere. He had, if you remember, he has a huge contingent of troops here. He sent an invasion force in here. And, oh, look at that. I'm going to start retaking all of this. Actually, split. You go here, and here, and here, and here. Get a good 6 hours worth of work in, right? And then we'll start coming down here. But yeah, he had a big invasion coming through Asia. He has a significant force here, right? And they're just too far away to do anything useful. He could, again, he's got 2 mechs here. I think he might have just tabbed out of the game at this point. Colombia might have, because he knows that it's over. There are some fighters there, and there's an airfield, but he didn't even make it all the way to the airfield. So yeah, that tells me that he made some orders, realized that it was over, and just left the game last night. So Colombia is more than likely finished, and I would discourage you from doing that. As you saw what I did at the beginning of the game, he accused me of gold spamming, actually, and this is probably when he left the game. He said pay to win, and then I'm sure he left, but I responded to him pretty quickly, and I said, nah, man, I've been saving up. I don't know about my allies, but with very few exceptions, I've not spent gold this game. And then I told him when I spent gold. I spent gold that first time that I told you, and there's a couple of other times in Indonesia where I thought he had maybe like 3 or 4 troops and not the whole army that he had. I could have spent a lot of gold to hold this area. I didn't do that. I will sometimes spend a little in these games when I know other people are spending gold to just not deal with a headache. And this, I thought, was going to be a headache, not a full-on invasion. So I did spend a little bit of gold over there, but not much. But when he saw the writing was on the wall, it's over. He's quit. Now I do know that Neo Inca here is still fighting. He may underestimate the force that's coming at him, but all this is just Margrave and I. Voodoo Cult is AI, so if he ever came back, it would be over. And then this is Morocco. And Morocco's just coming in through the north. And he's taking on Great Plains. So this game won't be going for too much longer. It's going to be cleanup at this point. We've got a little over 1,000 points. And this is before day change. So this is before all of this takes effect. And sorry about that. Colombia is at the top, and it won't be long. So that is where we are at. I do want to briefly talk about the carriers. And actually, I want to go on here and talk about not the carriers, but the patrol boats. Not the patrol boat, the torpedo boat. These are actually really good units, and I was really surprised, when I saw their stats. So I do believe that partially because of the torpedo boat, they take an hour to build, and they use power when you build them. But I think because of what these are, the carrier might be one of my favorite units to build now. So I definitely will be building more carriers. The dropships are fantastic. They take a lot of investment because they convert into another troop that you also have to invest in to make them good. But I think that I might start trying to play an island game and island hop with those dropships and then carrier my way to victory. Obviously, you need a navy for that, but at that point, you don't need mechs. Like, I don't have to invest anything in the mech tree. I don't really have to invest much in the capture tree. It's just Navy and Air Force. I think that would be fun, and I think that may be what I try to do next. That's all that I have for now. This will probably be the last video since it's just cleanup. Soli Deo Gloria, and I'll see you next time.